and you can just start having a chat. So the format of the session is pretty open. If I've found anything interesting I want to talk about, I'll perhaps give 5 minutes on it, and then we just move into open questions, and they can be anything from newbie, no idea what's happening with what is blockchain, what is crypto, through to more technical stuff. So no stupid questions, and anything that is just on your mind, feel free to ask, and I can help where I can.
So I think the cryptos, bitcoins and everything is really gone down again. It's like a couple of days ago, it's going up, but now it's really down. Do you know any reason for this or anything's going on?
No specific things. No, I mean there's been a decent rise in the last couple of weeks, but dropped again just today, really, isn't it? So the reasons could be many, but I suspect it's probably to do with the release of new figures on inflation. Particularly, that will have it's relevant, like Luca was saying this morning. There's a crypto call that several of us joined earlier in the day from veteran in the fiat world, moved into retail and commercial property, and then into now lectures on blockchain, crypto, really knowledgeable. And he was saying that Britain's the first country to announce we've gone into double-figure inflation. So that's we're in the lead for for having the worst rate of inflation, which is great news. I don't know if that's all countries, because it's probably just the northern largest ones. But yeah, inflation is here and it's embedded, and anytime there's new figures released on where we're at as nations, that tends to impact stocks and shares, which also impacts crypto. And at the moment, the sort of difference between the two are stocks and shares will fluctuate quite a bit, certainly more than straight currency, but then crypto will fluctuate massively. So we see swings of 5-10% a day, whereas stocks and shares will do that in a month maybe. So it's volatile. It's very concerning when you see these swings, and we are dealing with very new technology. There's a lot of risk everywhere, but the upside are we're in early, so anything you do hold now is likely, if this technology succeeds, is likely to see a significant gain over the years. And if you're only investing only the things you can afford, you're not overextending yourself, you're putting in a tiny amount, something that you don't need to spend in the near future, then that's a good approach to it. Of course, everything I say here is purely my opinion and what I practice, not what I'm telling you to do. So do your own research. But the fluctuations and swings are likely, I think, to just movements in the fiat world. Jaya, I don't know if you've seen anything else in particular that, or heard anything. I think I was in the whole of Luca's call, but there were just lots of indicators around for why there would be swings. And realistically, if you're in crypto, I think you have to really be in it for, you're either a trader, so you're looking to benefit from the fluctuations hour by hour, minute by minute, or you're in it longer term, just buying to hold. And so the tokens that I'm interested in are the ones that are more stable, less risky, that are technically innovative. They're looking to bring new functionality. And so the things that I'm really interested in are counteractions to hyperinflation, for example, that we talked about already. So if there's a way to store value and to exchange value between humans that isn't subject to monetary policies of individual nations. And that's a really interesting thing, because you can then detach yourself from local disturbances, local politics, from greed, from the powerful holding over sway, and instead you can put that into a globally, or everybody who holds a particular token can, like with Cardano in particular, they're very heavy. It's built to be very heavily incorporating governance. So anybody who holds ADA can get involved in its future direction. So with Cardano, if you hold more than 500 ADA, you can take part in the voting procedure to decide how a large portion of its treasury, or a significant portion of its treasury, is spent on the technology that's being built out. And that's what I'm talking about is Project Catalyst. So anytime anybody buys or sells something on Cardano, 20% there's a transaction fee, and 20% of that fee goes into a treasury, and that treasury is held by Cardano Foundation. And then the Project Catalyst is a roughly quarterly fund that comes out every 3 months, and has I can't do shit. It's every 3 months or so. There's $60 million worth of funds put out as a grant proposal scheme, where anybody in the world can put together a proposal. Say, I've got a good idea, I want to build this out. It involves Cardano blockchain, or will benefit blockchain in this way. And then the community, anybody who holds ADA, can vote on whether that gets funded or not. And so that's a significant chunk of money being invested into community-driven adoption and innovation. And the sorts of projects you see on there are, one I was telling David about earlier was in Mozambique. There's a company that's building houses and then providing mortgages for people to be able to buy those houses, own those houses themselves. Because in Mozambique, there's it's like 1% of the population can afford and hold a mortgage, and the mortgages that they hold are at 30% rate. So that's not really a viable offering for people to buy houses in that country. So blockchain can now come in, innovate, create its own wealth and store of value, can do things like build houses, and get people who do have money to help build those houses, and then earn a reward from offering mortgages at a reasonable rate. So I think they're looking at 7% for their mortgages. So that's just an innovative way to bring the things we benefit from in the north to developing nations, and that's a significant incentive for people who are conscientious about their investments, who want to think about what impact they're making. Or it could purely be a technological innovation project. Like there was a project called Orbis that was looking to build out a layer 2 scaling solution, so we could use the compute power to run applications on the blockchain far faster, with really good resiliency and adoption, and it would all be backed by the blockchain, but offer you speed and cheap equivalents of running it just as a centralized entity. It's not centralized, it's decentralized, but the power that you get from Google and Amazon and Apple, you can reproduce that for a great expense on the blockchain, but you can reproduce it to run in a decentralized fashion, so that you're not having to hand over your data to a private organization to manage. You can actually just put it onto a blockchain storage. You can have it encrypted, so nobody can access it other than you, but you can do fast transactions with it in a really cheap way, so cheaper than any other system out there. And so Orbis came with this proposal, and they needed $1 million of investment just to get that off, and that was what they were asking for from Project Catalyst. And it had a really high volume of votes, but it didn't win enough votes to actually get that proposal built. But that's a sort of difference in scale between a highly technical, innovative solution, a $1 million budget just for a portion of that project, to people buying, putting project proposal on there for a couple of $1,000s to help write documentation for a particular feature, or to run an awareness event in their local town hall. All these sorts of things get funded through it. So it's really innovative, and that's really trying to bring the power of the network down to individual levels. So we can all take part, we can all contribute. So it's much more than just a way to buy a token, see it rise in value, sell it, and pocket the difference, which it does do very well as well. So you get the best of both worlds. So if you can build something that is resistant to, you can't print Cardano, you can't print ADA or Bitcoin at a faster rate than is defined in the algorithms. And that means it's out of the hands of the powerful who even run the technology. It's out of, so I run part of the Cardano blockchain. I run a node on the network. I'm one of about 3,200 pools. And I don't have the power to change how fast the tokens are produced. I don't have any control over that. It's all written into the algorithm, into the technical white papers and implementations that are then put onto the blockchain and can't be changed without, government governance decisions across the board. And that removes then the hands of those decisions from the banking industry, the governments, and puts it in the hands of us as individuals. Our voting power from holding the token means we can drive it forward and choose which direction it goes and things like that. So you're insulated then from people who are being coerced or forced into certain ways of behavior out of desperation. Like we saw in the pandemic, we desperately needed more money, so they printed a load more, and now we're all going to be paying for it for the next 5, 10, 20 years. That won't happen to the same degree on blockchain, is the intention. So it's a good way to bring some of the problems we're seeing in the fiat world, where the money pools at the top and brings it down, to help it be managed more decentralized, in a more decentralized way. Now we're very young, we're very early, and we are at the mercy of the current financial system. So when we see stocks and shares rise in value, rise and fall in value, then crypto currently is rising and falling in value to bigger and larger swings, because most of the value in crypto at the moment is from investment money as opposed to actual functionality. But they're starting to change now. We're starting to see corporate investors come on board, putting their big holdings into crypto, into Cardano in particular, and that's going to slow down those fluctuations, bring more stability, and hopefully bring the ability for us to buy and sell services from each other using a token like Cardano, rather than having to rely on dollars or pounds or yen or lira or whatever currency is currently available in your country. You can actually use a different one that's more stable than the dollar even at the moment. And that's the drive, that's the goal. So any more questions? Anything you want to talk about in particular today you want to cover? I want to run quite a short session today, so I'll probably finish about past. But yeah, open mic.
Hi, Tom. It's Utan here as well.
Hi, Utan. Good to see you.
Yeah, good. Well, I'm sort of like, again, sort of like in background studying about this, proposal assessor, how to do those sort of things. And so far, so I'm in the idea scale. And I'm just trying to sort of like, if you could walk through with me, what are those terms mean? Like, it's like some of them assess, sometimes some of them has got like awaiting assessment. Although, are we sort of, if we are proposal assessor, are we going to select awaiting assessment and then sort of like select those project and do assessment? I'm just not very clear on that.
Right. Yeah. So the proposal cycle runs in about a 3-month schedule. There's actually a couple of week break in between now, but it's got phases within it. And so you start off with proposal submission being open, so people can write some proposals and start putting ideas out there for to get some feedback from the community. Then they move to finalized proposal writing. After that, they get locked down, and then you have proposal assessors, which Utan is wanting to take part in. And it means that we can have people with skills go into Idea Scale, which is this platform that stores the proposals. And in fact, I'll get it up on screen now. So the Cardano.ideascale.com is the website, and anybody can register and show things on there. I'll drop. So within Discord, if it's your first time, there is a screen share window that will be the same as one of the chat windows. That will be showing my screen, and then also one of the video windows. But then also within my screen, there's a chat section that should show up on the right once I post something, and I'll put links into there. You can get back to that at any point, even when the call's finished, by going over to let me jump to this for a second. Get over to the Hangout call and then hover over it, and you'll see the three icons to the right. You can click on Open Chat, and that will show you the chat again, so you can find those links again in the future. But in Idea Scale, I'm not logged on here. We can go in and show some of the proposals that are in the current fund, which is Fund 9. And when you're in the proposal assessment phase, you get invited in to go and write assessments of the proposals. And again, anybody can sign up as a proposal assessor, and by assessing people's proposals, by writing a review, by pointing out flaws or asking questions, once you've taken part in that process, you can get rewarded for it at the end of the vote. So again, a portion of that treasury funds that's been built up, that makes it a $16 million fund. Some of those rewards, some of that fund money will go off to pay for proposal assessors. You'll also get rewarded for voting, just simply voting in it. And so once you are into Cardano, you can see some of the challenge settings that there are. So the community decides on one fund what the challenge settings will be for the next one. And so that can sway between things like Grow Cardano, Grow Africa, which are all about African-centric ideas for growing Cardano. Or it could be like this, the Great Migration from Ethereum. So it's how do we get people who are building currently on Ethereum over into Cardano. And so the proposals in there all have to sort of meet the criteria of that challenge. We've got other ones like DAOs love Cardano. A DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization, and the hope is that these are organizations of people working together, which will effectively replace or supplement private organizations like our businesses. So you're going to have teams managed and using and trading in currencies and setting rules for how they're going to operate in a decentralized fashion rather than top-down private organizations deciding exactly what happens, and some will be successful and some will fail. You can actually have collaboration on a better scale. Or dApps product integration. So I've got a proposal in here that I want to provide verified giving by stake pools to charities. And so I want to bring an integration for B1G1, which is a company that offers charitable giving and vetting of projects, charitable projects all around the world. So if businesses who want to do charitable giving, they can sign up with B1G1. They can say, okay, we're going to give 2% of our profits or 2% of our sales to charity, and we're going to get B1G1 to verify that we're giving, and we'll pick one of B1G1's vetted charities to actually give to. And so on the back of that, I can make a promise like, for anybody who stakes with Fluid Pool, every day that you stake with Fluid Pool, I'll provide a day of internet and ICT access to a student in Ethiopia. And that way I can tie together my operations as a blockchain operator with actual charitable giving, which, for me personally, is a goal, as a purpose in life. It gives me more enthusiasm for working on blockchain than purely trying to feed myself and my family. It's about doing good, improving society and humanity as a whole. And so within each of these sections, you can dive in and see the proposals, Utam. And when we're in the proposal assessment phase, which is not currently running, you can register as a proposal assessor, and then the interface changes a little bit. So these, what we're seeing now, are individual proposals. And you can have an opinion on almost anything, any of these, and think, games, computer games, that's a dangerous area, I'm not going to comment on it. Or you think, I want to comment on it, I want to probe them and see, are they being ethical? Are they going to corrupt our kids, or have they got better incentives? And so, your concerns, whether they be social, whether they be environmental, or whether they be economical, you can put in your questions and probe them and try and create a better proposal out of it, a better outcome from it. And of course, you may have technical skills that just lend itself to knowing that actually this isn't viable. You haven't asked for enough budget to actually get this done, delivered. Software development costs much more than you're asking for. How are you going to deliver any portion of what you're promising? And those sorts of questions are really valuable as well. And so you can make assessments of these proposals. You can interact before the assessment phase, and then once it comes to writing your proposal and your assessment, that will be posted publicly. And then after that phase, you get veteran proposal assessors who will look at your assessments and say whether they are good or bad. So we have a problem with bots in Cardano, the last couple of funds. So people have managed to find a way to write scripts that just come and write answers to these proposals, or make proposal assessments that are not being written by a human. And so they sound kind of good, but some of them have got no real value. They're not making valuable comments. And so we want to weed those out. So the veteran proposal assessors will help with that phase. And also people who don't really have any right to be commenting about a technical aspect of it, that can be then devalued as an assessment. And so the people aren't being penalized for something that's not a valid decision. And so we bring the quality assurance up all the time. And so you'll be partaking in that system.
So Jonathan, that looking at your screen at this moment, I can see one. I just want to understand that that like top one, which you say, can you just that particular one? It says underneath awaiting assessment and assess. What really those term means?
So that's describing the phases that we're in, and that doesn't quite tally up with the detail. So you can see once you actually click through. So that's the campaign funnel. You get all the different stages: proposal submission, refinement, finalizing, assessment, Q&A, and governance. And they all happen in various stages. And so at the moment, we're in the assessment quality assurance phase. So the results haven't been released, but they are being vetted.
What time will they be ready?
Maybe half an hour, something like that.
So ready, and it's getting India.
Assessment. So isn't awaiting assessment that somebody need to is assessment being somebody is doing assessment on that project? Is that my correct?
Yeah. So the assessments have been written, and that phase is actually, so the assess phase has happened already. That's this one. So that's been locked down. Now we've got 130 proposals in the 130 ideas in the assessment phase. There are proposals within those ideas, and it's the veteran proposals have gone through them, and they're all being scored. So currently we've just had scores released for the assessments. So each proposal then is given a score which determines where in the voting app they will appear. So what order they appear in. So you get a high score, which is out of 5. So a high score would be anything above 4. So 4.7 will probably be at the top of their listing within the app, the voting app, and you as a veteran, as a proposal assessor and veteran proposer, will have helped decide that ranking that the app, that the proposal sits within the app. And so the people who are voting will open up their app and they'll see in a particular challenge, under a particular idea, they'll see that app that got highest rated, 4.7, sit at the top, and so they'll be able to read it and assess it, then scroll to the next one. And so, depending on how avid a voter they are, how involved they want to be in the process, will determine how many proposals they read and which ones they're interested in. So it's just a way of helping to rank proposals in the voting app itself. Does that answer your question? Or I guess you probably really need to see the actual go through the process yourself to understand it fully. But that's it roughly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's assessed, then that means it could be in a veteran assessment problem carried out by veteran assessment or some assessor maybe assessing, right? So it could be any phase. How can we confirm that where that proposal is in?
So all proposals follow the same phases. So if you just look on any of the proposals, you'll see this stage, and that tells you which is the current stage. So they're in assessment, assess QA at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then the governance phase is where the voting happens. So we'll move into that. So it was supposed to have happened already, but it got pushed back 2 weeks because there was a coding issue on the voting app itself. It just meant they were concerned. They wanted to do rewrite a feature, have it tested, and then release. So it's pushed back 2 weeks. So I think voting opens up next week now.
Do we know exact day when we need to do? Second. Okay.
There is.
I think it's 22nd or something like that. Yeah.
Is it the 22nd? So Monday.
Yeah.
I do have a cheat sheet of what the dates are and what phase we're in, but it's on my other browser. I'm on holiday, so things aren't quite where they normally are. So when voting.
If you want to vote your proposals, how do we? I think we have to select Fund 7, right? From the Flu 7, yeah. Flu 7, yeah.
Yeah, so you could find them by searching.
It's like when we registered last time. I think it will be the same, isn't it? Do we need to do anything again?
So if you're registered to vote already, then you don't need to do anything. You can just then, when the voting opens, you can go in and find proposals that you like and vote on them. You can see Flu 7, or actually a cleaner and tidier list is to use it. And this list of proposals is are the ones that I'm actually involved in which, if we get funded, then I'll be helping to develop and build, because I run a software development house.
Can you save or pin projects that you're interested in for quicker voting? Or do you just kind of have to have a mental note or a post-it note on the side about what you're interested in?
Yeah, there's a couple of good tools for that now. Again, there is a way to do it within the app itself, but it's not very good. And so the community has built out their own tools, which are really good. And I'll show you a couple of those now as well. That'd be great. So here's my list of proposals. So you can use that link I just dropped into the chat if you want to find and read about them. And of course, I don't force you to vote, but I would appreciate your any votes you think are worthwhile. So the first tool I want to show you.
So to clarify, if we're interested in backing Fluid 7, this is your shortcut link to get to those votes quickly.
Yes, yeah. So they're all links through to the proposals where you can actually find the title and vote for them. the voting app itself only works on mobile, and so it may be that you open up the link on your mobile browser to then be able to click. And I don't think there's even any way of clicking through from the links themselves to get into the voting app. You can only get through into IdeaScale, which shows you what the proposal is about. So then you have to search for the proposal manually in the app itself. So it is awkward on your mobile. But like the tool, I think is Project Catalyst. Let's misspell that. No, just use Cardano voter tool. So Cardano Catalyst. This tool lets you browse through all the IdeaScale proposals and save your own pick list, and then you can actually share the pick list as well. So, and it's actually a quick way, an easier way of browsing through the proposals than the other one, in my opinion. So you could jump into legal and financial implementations. I don't know, Robin, you were interested in the Zimbabwean proposal that we have in here. So there's one for Cardano accountants and lawyers, which has had a decent scoring so far. 12 reviews by proposal assessors. So that's, Utan, you'll be one of those one day. You can click through. It'll give you the synopsis of it, and then a list of all the reviews, so you can see what the proposal assessor's ideas were, and then form your own opinion. The star rating on these assessments are done by the veteran proposal assessors, so it tells you whether the veterans think that's a good proposal assessment or not, a useful assessment or not. So again, that might help inform your decision making. Then you've got the ability to add to your upvote down pick list or your downvote pick list. So within the app, you've got a vote weight, which is equivalent to how much ADA you hold, and at a particular point in time before the assessment stage, the voting snapshot's taken, and how much you've got in your wallet at that time informs how much your vote is worth. And then when you upvote any proposal, it uses all your voting weight, and when you downvote any proposal, it uses all of your voting weight again. So it's like a vote yes or a vote no. That's all your power, and everybody who votes then waters down how powerful your vote is effectively. So the more people that vote, the more distributed that voting decision is, and more fair it is. And that's how the mechanism works at the moment. Hopefully down the road there'll be better voting mechanisms, because it's kind of the wealthy people, the whales who hold lots of ADA, they'll have a higher voting power than us as little guys. So we want to build in other voting systems down the road, and that's fully intended to happen and be built out, which may be based on one person, one vote. There are difficulties with that at the moment because we're in a decentralized environment. That really needs to have identities cast so that we know one human holds voting power, and then we can assign them one voting power. And even that then might not be entirely fair. So yeah, there's all sorts of thoughts and papers being written on those sorts of things to be built out down the road. But this is one of my proposals. So I'm not actually going to be working on this one directly, but I'm supporting the company who will be producing this solution. And I do some work for them elsewhere already as well. So they've asked for $80,000 to build out this training system to train accountants and lawyers in blockchain legal matters. And so if you think that's a good idea, you can vote for it. Cast your vote and see how it goes. So another tool this produces a pick list, which then you can go to my vote pick list, and that gives you which ones you picked so far, and then you can share that, generate a link for your pick list, and then that gives you an actual URL. You can copy to clipboard, save it in your bookmarks, and then you'll be able to go back to it and add to it anytime, or you can share it with the community. So you can share it with us, and we can then see who you think is good to vote for, and vice versa. So it's a good way of collaborating. Another good one, another good platform that's only launched the last fund is from Lido Nation, which is a really good developer called Daryl, who I have been in several calls with. He has this really good, rich environment for browsing through proposals now. So you can jump into Project Catalyst from his website, and then he's got all the Cardano idea scale proposals pulled into here as well, and it's got a bit more of a quickly browsable way of looking through the proposals. His search engine is also very good. And then as well, once you're into any of these, you can bookmark them, and that will add it to your bookmark list. There's pink sections, and that can be saved. So you can sign up to the site and create a login. I think it's based on email, and then you can save your bookmarks directly into the site, and every time you log in again, you'll have access to those. So that's a very good tool as well. And it's also got good filtering tools if you want to determine how you want to search a proposal. So if you say you're looking for ones that have a conscientious aspect, they're working on social or governance issues, you can click impact, and it'll filter the proposals by impact rather than just technical or economical. So you can see the ones that are looking to make a difference in the world just by filtering like that. Or it could be you want to see just first-time proposers, or you're not interested in people who are just proposing for the first time. You only want to see people who've tried proposing a couple of times. So you can help filter out this list and create your own bookmark list. It's a good way of browsing them all. And so those two tools are ones I would recommend you have a look at, see what you prefer. The first one I show is older, probably more trusted, less biased maybe, and then this latter one is younger, fresher, faster, cooler. But you make your choice. Cool. So any other questions about Catalyst or beyond Cardano?
You for those, those tools, is definitely useful. Yeah, good stuff.
They are very, very useful, very powerful. And so, maybe a basic question would be, even if if you want to get involved in Cardano and start voting, you don't have to buy 500 ADA, which probably set you back about was it 40p at the moment, so just under a couple £100 or £200. You will need that if you want to vote, but there's other ways of participating without having to buy that much ADA. You can just go in and comment on proposals, which is a valuable thing to do. Or you could look to be earning from the community rather than just investing into the token. So there are people who've never bought ADA coming to the community and want to start finding ways of earning. So that can be pulling in voter rewards. Sorry, not voter rewards, proposal assessment rewards. So writing proposals, you don't have to hold ADA to do that. You have to have a wallet, so you can set up your wallet for free. You can register as a proposal assessor for free, and then you can write proposals and then get rewarded at the end of it for spending your time doing that. There are starting to build in some limits, so you might have to write a certain number of proposal assessments to actually be eligible for the rewarding portion, which is a good thing to try and build up the quality assurance. And but then you could also be a referrer. So if you introduce people to the Project Catalyst and say, look, here's a way of writing a proposal, getting funded for it. If you've got a good idea, come and do that. If they then write a proposal, they do get voted for, and they get paid for, they get that grant money to build out their solution, then you can get a portion, you can get rewarded for having referred them. And that can be a good way of earning ADA without having to buy it outright. So if you're if you do hold it and you are voting and you are writing proposed assessments and you are referring people, there are 3 ways of instantly bringing in, building up your holding without actually spending any more, on a regular basis. And so I'm doing that, as that's my intention, is to find ways of earning ADA. So I'm not having to buy it myself, but I'm actually starting to produce a livelihood from it. So I think it's got longevity, it's got value, and because it's decentralized, it's not controlled by individuals or single private companies. It has actually got non-profit organizations helping manage all this stuff, who don't have greed at the heart, but have more conscientious things. I like it as a construct, and so hopefully hope it will be successful, and want to hold ADA so that I can benefit from that growth, but also I can contribute back to a more fair system. So that's my goal with it. I do want to finish at past, so we've got another 15 minutes of questions. So do interrupt me at any time, otherwise I'll just go off on where I think I want to talk about. So to actually get involved from first instance, you need to buy some ADA, and you do that from a centralized exchange. So that's signing up with crypto.com or Coinbase or Kraken or Binance or one of these centralized exchanges that will ask you to prove who you are. You need to provide probably your passport, photo ID of some sort, register with an email address, and then once they've done that, then they've conformed to their local government's restrictions, which means that then they can give you a bank account to be able to pay into, and that helps us avoid being tagged with this. We're a criminal industry. People are just laundering money through us. And so that's why the centralized exchanges exist, to really try and help you move your money from your bank account, the fiat world, into the blockchain world. And then once you've got your money on the exchanges, you can buy tokens. So you could buy Cardano on there. Now that's in a centralized exchange, which is a private organization which has to comply with local law. But once you move your money into it and you've bought tokens, you can then move your tokens out from that exchange into a self-sovereign wallet, which is a crucial thing you need to understand and read about, learn, get comfortable with, probably as you're doing it, before you're doing it, but certainly before you're investing in significant sums of any cryptocurrency. And a self-sovereign wallet is different from a wallet on an exchange, because actually you are your own bank then. Anything you're holding in that wallet, you're entirely responsible for. If you lose the keys to that wallet, which means you can't unlock it, then you've lost your money. Any money that's in that, you've lost. You'll never be able to recover it. And so what's called your seed phrase is the most important thing in your range of assets when you're a crypto investor. So it's important to move them from the centralized exchange into a self-sovereign wallet. And on Cardano, I'm talking about Daedalus, Yoroi, Eternal Wallet, Nami, Typhoon. All these are decentralized wallets. There's lots of them, Flint, and these are good wallets to hold your holdings in, because a centralized exchange can have issues. So we've seen problems with Luna Terra, which is a stable coin, that brought about the collapse of whole projects. The knock-on effect was that platforms like and centralized exchanges like Celsius had to lock down all their holdings. So any crypto you are holding on Celsius, you can't access. Currently, you can't withdraw, you can't move it out. So effectively, it's like having your money in a bank, and then there's a run on the banks, and the banks close their doors and won't let you go in and take your money out. That can't happen if your money is on a self-sovereign wallet. And so the ability for us as individuals to take responsibility for that is a really important aspect of blockchain, of actually building out this infrastructure in a secure, stable way. Because if we can learn how to be the controllers of our own assets, hold them in a responsible way, understand the technology, get familiar with it, then you are empowering the whole decentralized aspect. And so that's the way we remove the power from the top down and actually spread it out to the edges. And the centralized exchanges help us move the money into this world, but then actually moving that final step into your self-sovereign wallet is important. And so the Cardano system incentivizes that by you can't really earn from it until you've got your money in a decentralized wallet. So the address that you need to register for voter rewards or proposal assessment rewards or referrer rewards has to be a decentralized wallet, which is, I would recommend getting started with Eternal. It's a very good wallet, and it's quite daunting in terms of user interface, but it's a very good one because it is all powerful, will do everything you need for a very long time, and has proved itself to be stable and secure and fast. So you move your money to there, that gives you a receive address, and then you can use your receive address to actually accept more ADA. And so you'll be able to move your ADA from a centralized exchange into that Eternal wallet using your receive address as the target. So you'll have your source, which will be centralized exchange, to your target, which will be your Eternal wallet address. And all the DeFi wallets on Cardano start with ADDR1. And so you'll recognize that receive address as somewhere you can put your money into. So you only quote your own receive addresses, don't quote anybody else's, because if somebody moves ADA into somebody else's address, you don't have anything to do with it. But if you are receiving money, so if I wanted to send ADA to David, then I would ask for his receive address. He would find it in his Eternal wallet, and I could then send him ADA. And he would see it appear in his wallet. And that can happen with more than just ADA. It can happen with native tokens, which are built on the exchange on Cardano as well. So you can, just like in the Ethereum world, you can move Ethereum on there, but you can also move Binance tokens and these other types of tokens. And so just like that world has it, Cardano has its own versions as well. So on Cardano, you could have meld tokens or Sunday tokens, gimbal tokens, which we'll be giving out as part of staking to Fluid Pool. So there's a whole load of things that you can learn about down the road. But yeah, one step at a time. Create an account on a centralized exchange, buy some ADA, and create a decentralized wallet on Cardano using Eternal. Move your ADA from centralized exchange into your wallet, and then you can start to participate in the ecosystem, start earning, start growing, and getting involved. Any questions that come out of that? So one of the features within the wallet, once you've got one of these wallets, is that you can, just by holding ADA, any amount you do hold, you can earn rewards. And so that's where I've decided to get directly involved with the blockchain. I run what's called a stake pool. So a stake pool is an operator on the network. So any transactions that happen on the network, the servers that I run will validate those transactions, verify that they are mathematically correct, and say, yes, this is a valid transaction. You can write that to the blockchain, and then that goes around the whole network. 3,000 operators plus a whole load of other full nodes, like the Daedalus wallet is a full node. That's a whole copy of the blockchain in the Daedalus wallet. So it's a big wallet. It's downloaded. It's about 100 gig or something. So you might not want to use that one straight away. But there's copies upon copies and copies of the blockchain, all of them identical, all of them backed up by this agreement mechanism, consensus mechanism that's built into Cardano. And so by holding ADA in a decentralized wallet, you can then delegate what you hold to a stake pool, and that stake pool then earn you interest on it. So you'll get like 5% maximum rewards annual paid into your wallet, and so that grows your holdings over time. And so it's a far better rate of return than you'll get by holding pounds in a bank account, dollars in a bank account. And it shows you that the finance, the fiat world that we're in, the banking system, is very much skewed in the favor of the banks. They are creaming a whole load off the top that could be distributed. And so the blockchain world is a way of resetting that whole financial model and distributing the funds to the people involved in the system, people partaking, the average everyday holder like you and me. And so it's a really good way of incentivizing people to get involved and actually to build out their holdings and then some rewards.
He's counting over.
Yeah. So staking to a pool means that you're not handing your money over to that pool. You are just saying, I want this pool, this operator on the network, to have the power to earn the trust to the extent that I hold ADA. So if you hold 500 or if you hold 50,000 ADA, you can assign the volume of that to a stake pool and say, yeah, this is how much I trust that pool. And so the pools are incentivized to get more and more trusted people to say they'll stake with them. And they do that by being consistent with their rewarding mechanism. They don't have control over the rewards, the ADA interest you get, but we can incentivize it on other things. So I'm holding these educational sessions as an incentive to stake with my pool, helping to onboard people, and so by doing that, by being an operator on the network, by encouraging people to trust me to take this place on the network, I then get rewarded by being able to mint blocks on the blockchain, and every time I do that, then we who are staked to Fluid Pool all get paid out rewards, and I get rewarded for running the computers to validate their transactions. And so the blockchain is incentivizing people to stake with it. It's incentivizing operators on the network to run the chain itself, copies of the chain itself, and everybody slowly grows their holdings over time. And that's the way that, as more people join, it helps bring more and more value to be stored on the blockchain, and we can all earn interest off that as the economy within the blockchain grows. And so that's another incentive. Just by holding ADA and staking it with a pool, you can earn interest, and that's what Fluid Pool is offering. So within your Eternal wallet, you'll see an interface to am I still sharing screen correctly? Yeah, I think so. So you can go into Eternal wallet and see this one I've got open. You can then go to staking, and you can see this wallet is already staked to Fluid Pool, but you can search and see all the pools on the network. So these are real people behind these running servers to support the network, and there are various ways of picking a pool. If you're here and learning from me, I'd appreciate you staking with Fluid Pool, because that helps us grow the amount of trust that the pool attracts and how often we can mint blocks. That means how often we get pay out our rewards. And so you can search Fluid Pool and you can see here the parameters that I've set on the pool that determines the rewards we get. So there's a fixed fee of 340 ADA that helps pay for the infrastructure that the pool provides. And then there's a variable fee that I can set, which is 2.9%. So that's how much I want to be earning from any rewards we build. And I use that to pay out to charitable giving through B1G1, and also use it to pay Fluid7, who runs the servers, and that's my company. And then also just by holding ADA, I stake it to my own pool as well to show that I've got skin in the game. I'm invested. I'm here long term. I want this pool to do well, and so that's this pledge factor here. So there's I've gathered 40,000 ADA, pledged it to the pool, and so you know that I can't spend that while it's pledged. I'd have to move it out of the pool, and then you'll see that number decrease, and you can make a decision then on whether you want to stop staking with Fluid Pool, move it to another one. And so, like in this little group, we've all been involved in the past in what's called ISPOs, and that's where a pool operator will have the offer of other coins, other tokens that may have a faster rate of growth because they're newer, they're younger, they're higher risk, they may be a high rate of return on them as well, and you can get rewarded. Pools will offer those as rewards for staking with them. So Fluid Pool offers Gimbal tokens as well. So if you stake with Fluid Pool, you can earn Gimbal tokens. And we've also had Zyber tokens. So there's a gaming token that was we gave out, and people have been delegating for the past 20 days. You can go and collect those now from TosiDrop. The link is in the chat. And these incentives all help make pools more attractive. And so as you hang around us, as you learn, there are ways to earn more rewards than even the 4 I've talked about already. So voting rewards, proposed assessment rewards, referral rewards, and staking rewards are all ways to grow your holdings without actually putting in any more money. So it's a rich ecosystem that's looking to incentivize people to participate. The more people that participate and start to adopt it in everyday life, the more benefits we'll see in terms of getting this decentralized vision rolled out, taking back control of our money and of our identity, our online identities, is the incentive. So yeah, hopefully that's giving you some food for thought. The regulars will know it all already, but it's always good to have a refresher, I hope. And yeah, I do this every Friday morning.
It's a really good insight. Fluid. Just one more thing, because some people may think even like in a central exchanges like a Kraken or Binance, for the ADA, they are giving like a 4 to 6% as well.
Staking.
When staking, yeah. And then why they need to be like eternal, whereas like even like central exchanges, they give like that kind of percentage. So is it better to stay with them or keep it outside? Only that, as you said, like a risk factor, maybe the central exchange, anything happen, but if you have got their own wallet, that's the difference. Apart from that, any other benefit? Keep it.
Yeah. So the largest benefit in my eyes is that if you've got it on a centralized exchange, they can offer even more rewards than you get staking with us. But they are using your holdings to then go out and earn higher rewards. So they are effectively behaving like a bank. So instead of the holdings that are on those centralized exchanges helping Cardano itself grow and have more adoption, they're actually pooling those funds, and then they're taking all the rewards for themselves, distributing the bits out to the people who stake with them, but they are creaming much more off the top than is done by having it in an eternal wallet. So the benefits of the ADA holdings are going to private entity rather than going towards the network operators and being distributed. So like the centralized exchanges do offer a really valuable service, but I would say that this sort of education that I'm doing is more valuable than what you're getting from a centralized exchange. So you can use them, you can put the money onto there, you can even stake with them, but I would consider it important to get the majority of your ADA off the exchange for the sake of not risking it, for building up the decentralized nature of the blockchain industry, and also for helping to incentivize pool operators to keep involved, to keep doing these sorts of sessions, for helping to build out tools like the wallets that we're using, and creating YouTube videos that we can all learn from. None of that activity is happening from the centralized exchanges, but it's happening from individual individuals like me are pool operators, and really we're building the technology. They're just benefiting from it. So that's a really good reason for getting your money off the exchange to a large degree. There's a risk factor, but there's also the growth of decentralized as a movement factor as well. And yeah, it's important. It's important. Decentralization is important.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Okay.
And on the same, I've got another question is like, so for example, we delegate to like Cardano to your fluid, and we have got some more in our exchanges, and then if we again transfer to your fluid now, then it will be like amalgamated, or it will be the separate kind of separate like staking, like with the old one, or it will be.
If you move more into that wallet that's already staked with Fluid Pool, then it just automatically gets aggregated. Is that the question?
Yeah.
Yeah. So any money you put into that wallet now will be eligible for rewards from Fluid Pool.
Okay.
Yeah, and you
So,
can.
but we do like in eternal wallet with a separate, making like a separate wallet, then it will be a different name.
Yeah. So just like on my Eternal wallet, you can see I've got this staked ADA wallet, but I've also got these other ones, XSPO, support stake. I can have these delegated to a different pool, or not delegated at all, and so I can move ADA into my one that's already staked, or I can move it into others, and that will determine where it's earning rewards from or not. Yeah, and of course the beauty about staking with Cardano is that you can spend it at any time. It's not locked in. Whereas if you're doing it on Ethereum or one of the other blockchains, then it's locked in. You can't spend your funds. So that's the beauty and benefit of Cardano as a blockchain. Good. Well, hopefully that was useful to you all. I'm going to sign off now, I think, and we can catch up next week. Sorry, Robin, you were saying something?
Sorry, just hopefully a quick one. I was just looking at TosiDrop just to check. I've done it before, so I know my Zybers are in my wallet.
Excellent.
My token thing. But I've just done a check again, and a new thing called Audit with a star next to it that says premium tokens incur a premium token fee when claiming. And I have 100 audits available using my Fluid 7 receive wallet. You know anything about that?
No. Are you seeing that on TosiDrop?
Yes.
Okay. No, I hadn't seen that there. Again, it's a young ecosystem. Everything's growing all the time. They get new features all the time. So that must be a new feature.
And I can't click on it to see what it's about. You know, like what is Audit. On Drip Drops, you can click on the project and it will open it up. Yeah, look. What's that?
So this is a token. So TosiDrop is a token distribution platform like Drip Drops, and so one of the tokens they're distributing is Audit, but it's a premium token. So that means it'll be on this platform. It looks like it means it'll cost you a little bit more than most of the tokens are to redeem. So the token provider that's put their token on here thinks it's worth more than the average token, and so they've labeled it as premium, which means that they want a bit more money for collecting it. Doesn't mean it's worth any more. It just means that they think it's worth more. So you could collect it as a reward for staking with Fluid Pool, but it looks like it'll cost you a bit more. So you have to do some research on Audit to find out what they're about and if they are valuable or not. Okay, but yeah, interesting one. Thanks for that. We'll perhaps have another look at that next week. Right, I'm going to have to sign off. I've got to get down to the beach. Yay!
Have fun.
I might not be here next week because I'm away on holiday. I'm going to try and check in, but I might just actually have a holiday.
Yeah, no, that's a good shout. I should be doing the same.
But thank you for today.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Fun as always.
Uh,
Good to see you all. See you all soon. Bye bye.
Bye.